Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity of being here with you. Today we'll talk a little bit about our security strategy at Elo. We have our special guest from Banco do Brasil. I'd like to thank Ruby, who has supported us in the security front. So, beginning to talk about the strategy, you know Elo as a brand. Here you can see the logo at the center of the slide. We created new products, new solutions, helping on the credit card business. We have changed our strategy. We are not only a credit card brand, but we are a technology company. And in one of the fronts, we bring a few models and solutions for us to improve customer experience. We were very well known about for creating rules and patterns. Uh, We generated specifications, and at the end of the day, we hoped that that would connect and we would be able to deliver a wide range of products. The market changed significantly, and we are more worried about the customer experience. I will tell you a few cases just to make our day-to-day work better and more flow-like. And the idea is to solve fraud, giving you an overview about things we have been doing. Before talking about security, we are creating a carbon credit arrangement. We have the mission of connecting buyers and sellers, and Elo will enter this market. We're going to launch the solution soon. In this M4P, we are building other arrangements beside credit card. We were a bit stuck. We were a bit stuck on the first scenario, but there's a big unexplored market like large corporate B2B. So we are creating closed arrangements through our platform to be able to bring new volume within the market. An example of that we're about to launch, we have given support Discover, JCB, other international companies to establish their operation in Brazil. Just what are we doing then? We have licensed our solution, our brand, products we called a service banners, and anyone who wants to establish an operation in Brazil, they can use our platform as a service, and that also goes for local brands. If any local brand wants to have access to our technology and all of the brands that we have in Brazil, they are able to use Elo's platform to do so. So it's quite a wide range of changes that we're bringing about to the market. Now, talking about security, if we stop to think about that, the fraud market has a wide range of solutions. We have anti-fraud for emission, brand, and we still continue have to have challenges. And a bit of what we're going to talk about this case that we have with Banco do Brasil is how can we solve that? So the idea is beginning to resolve these fraud journeys and meet the user's expectations. Here are a few examples of solutions which we have built. We began in a transactional monitoring scenario where we integrated that into a credit card transaction or a next phase of Apple Pay, Google Pay, for example, a series of tools to avoid fraud and when you use your credit card. Aside from that, we have worked with data, our data solution. We are able to use this information to help the banks with restrictive or positive lists to try to solve the fraud issues. And we have talked about solving authentication issues. we're going to bring to the market a better solution. The 3D Secure has been running in the market for years, and this wasn't able to solve fraud 100%. We're going to bring strategy in a product to help this front, and finally, we will enter new avenues, PIX, other channels, insurance. To sum up before entering the case, our intention is having a complete platform to help the markets and the public. This slide gives a wide view of what's possible to be done, and ELO has been really active in this front. Now to start talking about the case, I'd like to call Zonta, my friend who has a wide experience in this industry. Could you give us an overview of the main types of fraud? What are the challenges you might encounter leading security fronts at Banco do Brasil? Good afternoon to all of you. This topic of fraud today is quite common, unfortunately, especially ideological. People sometimes open accounts on institutions with data from other people and account takeover. And the volume of fraud have been growing with more and more organized and specialized crime. We have conducted they conduct or they incentivize the customers to do their own frauds. It's a good point, the issue of account invasion. Unfortunately, that doesn't end. I have worked in that industry since 2021. I led a chip project, and one of the things that the fraud area said is that that area would end, but unfortunately it does not end. It simply migrates to e-commerce, account takeover. You work with our Elo Validas and Card product. How has that helped you? Why have you decided to work with that product? One of the main reasons for us to begin using this product was having the least amount of assertivity or communicating directly with the customer through those channels that the bank has, like telephone number. How am I going to send a token, an MFA, a confirmation, a second factor confirmation, if I'm not sure that it's them that are really receiving these data? This is a point that we've been bringing commonly. These tools show a great effectivity. We can get good assertivity. I'm really delivering that token, NFA, that password, to my customer, not to a third party who will swap or will take advantage of this information. This is nothing new, but we can see that this is ever evolving. About SIM swap, what would be SIM swap? In the end, somebody using our data, they go into an operator and pretend they're us, and at that moment they are able to take our SIM card number, which would be ours, put it in their device, and for that period they are able to invade our email, they are able to receive SMS, and then they use information to hack bank accounts, amongst other things. So this is something that Banco do Brasil was very worried about, customer experience, which is something crucial in today's day. Thinking about the experience, what journeys did you prioritize to be able to solve these frauds? I have several journeys that I do for evaluation, certification along the customers. Currently, we use the onboarding and process, credential recuperation systems, all of the process, PICs, all the process where I need validation of that number, where I need to deliver something, authenticates I have a credential evolution, and I have to be sure that the customer is receiving that token, that confirmation, so we can evolve and mitigate fraud, and that it's not a high friction. I reduce the friction, but I don't need to use facial biometry amongst other devices. We know that networks, we are a country with of a continental size. Oftentimes, we don't always have a good quality internet, and this is a solution that really is able to help with several points of risk. So we realize that aside from helping in the customer experience, it even reduces operational costs. Because imagine if you're asking facial biometry at all times, this has a cost for the bank, and you help the customer not to even realize that it's being done, simply using the issue of biometric certification that should be the silence biometry and should be an exception. What are the results that you have obtained with the implementation of such solutions? Something that we observe, especially in the SIN swap practice, which is very recurrent, around 6% when there's an MFA and a second authentication factor. Today, there's a risk of about 6% of the volumetric flow. What's interesting here is that it can happen that a customer will activate a SIM card or an eSIM, and then they have depending on the date, it auto-regulates itself, and we are able to get more certainty that the customer is indeed in contact through that number. We have observed around 6% of validations which are of high risk in this volumetry where we should send MFAs along the journey. Here, one thing that we have worked together, and today we are at a front with Banco do Brasil, Bradesco e Caixa, of uniting our forces to protect frauds. Unfortunately, fraud doesn't end, and we need to work together, and I take the opportunity to make an invitation for any of you who might want to participate in that journey between Elo, the bank. The invitations are extended to all of the companies so we can really organize ourselves, prevent fraud. So if we have a very strong front to understand how we work with data, how we simplify the journeys, how we can use all of the artifacts at hand to help us in this respect. In alignment with this point, we have a security hub where we have contacted suppliers like Pruvi, FEDesign. We have brought others for our security hub. And how has that hub helped you in these fronts? The part of hub is something very cool. About a year ago, we did a substitution of suppliers and tools since swap. And something which is it usually takes a long time. And usually we have to integrate maintenance and even switch tools, because I have to stop to produce a best experience for customers and new products, and this generates cost. And what we experienced about a year ago is that substitution of the tool using this hub structure, and it was completely transparent. On the side of the bank, it wasn't necessary to change anything in the code. It was completely integrated. The process was completely streamlined. The hub had this transparency. It kept a standardization, and the taxonomy was transparent to the bank. The data, the process, assertivity, nothing absolutely changed. And many partners, many co-workers said, "What do you mean? I mean, how can you?" I didn't even see or notice the deployment of the new tool. So this is the magic of assertivity, giving a great return on part of the hub. It is one of the benefits, this transparency, being able to pivot between different solutions in a very seamless and scalable way. Perfect. And now I'd like to talk about something extremely important, which is performance. Today, between these transactions, the response time is something very sensitive in our operation, and it's quite important for us to have an authorizing agency, onboarding factors. We don't have so much patience today to wait. Things today have to be real time, and that's quite important for all of us. How do you see this issue of performance, response time? How has that impacted Banco do Brasil? The solution, especially for transactions, it has its synchronicity. It has to happen real time. We cannot validate it afterwards. And this is a tool that presents a robustness and speed. It's about 300 milliseconds of response. So the user on the onboarding process is quite fluid to the user. They have this request and they receive SMS messages or WhatsApp messages. So it's not limited to SMS. When we send a process to that line, when they type the code, the process, for them it's quite transparent. There's not a lag. No, there's nothing of the sort.
That's a robust tool, and it does or carries out the second factor in a simpler and agile way. Thanks. Great. I would like to thank you for the opportunity of having this chit-chat with you. Banco do Brasil has helped us a lot in these security fronts that has been extended to all ELO partners because we operate strongly and are able to fight against the fraud in an organized manner, and we invite all our partners to continue to come with us. We have an offer here, and for those of you who are interested, the tool is available for 60 days for free for you to test it, assess it, evaluate it in your operations, and for you to check if you'll have the return we were able to capture here from Banco do Brasil. The offer is out. I want to thank you all for being here. And it was nice being able to share the opportunities that ELO and Banco do Brasil is offering to the market. Thank you. I thank you. We are together here and will continue to evolve. Thanks very much.